Welcome, everybody, into the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. We are coming at you live from the Watkins Glen International Speedway. And that is definitely not what it's called, right? Yeah, there's no Speedway in there. It's just Watkins Glen International. My mistake, but I'm Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire, as always, is behind the production booth. Brian, I love Watkins Glen. This is my favorite track on the service, so you would think I'd know the name of it. But what do you think of it, man? I'm looking forward to it.
Man, I didn't know this is your favorite track. That's really interesting to note for sure. I mean, I'm sure you're really excited about this one here. I mean, I like Watkins Glen. I think it is synonymous when it comes to road course racing for NASCAR. I think when you think of NASCAR road course, this is it. I mean, Sonoma and Watkins Glen, and I think Watkins Glen comes to mind first. 2.45 miles here tonight. Going to be 8 turns, so it is the shortened racetrack here. We're going to go ahead and look at the keys to the race. But there is no caution to save your soul. That is the first key, essentially meaning that if you wreck your car or if you spin out, I mean, anything that happens that causes you to lose time, you're not going to get that time back. And of course, the second one is the track will probably feel different. We've heard, this season, especially how the new update to the truck has really changed the handling of the race truck. So I'm curious, will that affect how the truck feels at Watkins Glen? I mean, this is road course racing. Third key, hitting the wall wasn't fun. And what I mean about that is in the S's, in that kind of high speed part of the racetrack, you make one little mistake through there, bam, right into a metal barrier. And that's not fun.
I just want to touch on your second point a little bit. I did some practice running here at Watkins Glen this week for the truck to get ready for it because it is my favorite track, and it's the most fun I've had on the service in probably 5 years because of how evil this truck is tonight. I cannot wait for it. I mean, it drives way different than it has in the past. And we're going to jump into our broadcast picks real quick. I feel like there's one clear-cut answer, and that's going to be Keegan Sabilo.
Well, I was actually going to go with Kalen Mitchell. He was one of the fastest in practice. I'm surprised. It looks like he might be waiting until the last minute to put in a qualifying lap, which would not surprise me considering a lot of times, in these sessions it does cool down as the, qualifying session continues. But I think our producer is going to pick Kalen Mitchell as well. He was, I do believe, second quick in practice. He was the quickest for a long time until Carter Casey came in with a very fast lap. He was able to hit a minute 12.8, I do believe.
Kalen Mitchell is currently on his second qualifying lap. His first one, he ended up getting a 1X, so he is unable to get a lap time on that one. So doing a second time around, seeing if he can actually put down a lap time to get put on the board. We're gonna look at our schedule ahead for the week, though. Thursday night, Pocono Raceway, the High Slide Racing League, 8:20 p.m. Eastern at the Pocono Raceway. Like I said, that's gonna be fantastic. Love the trucks at Pocono. Michigan International Speedway on Friday night. We saw how awesome those races were last night. Me and Sheldon went absolutely batshit crazy. So be sure to tune back in on Friday night because it's going to be insane. For the Ryker Performance Friday night top split at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, sounds like you guys had a lot of fun last night. Or should I say, yeah. So I mean, I know I did some Michigan racing myself there in the Cup car, and it has been a ton of fun for sure. I'm sure that was a great broadcast. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun one here tonight. I mean, I think we got a little bit of a hotter track, 103 degrees, I do believe. So it's going to be a little bit slippy and slidey, I guess you should say. Austin, what does the truck feel like out there? I know you said it was kind of evil.
It feels like crap. It feels like absolute crap. It doesn't really turn into the corner very good. It doesn't want to turn down into turn one. It just feels like there's not a lot of response. And then you get off the brake and it'll kind of respond. And then there's way too much response on throttle, which is fantastic. I'm saying these things, I say too much. It's great. The car is evil. That's how a stock car should be at the short tracks, at the road courses. It shouldn't be easy to drive. It should be the hardest daggum thing you've ever done on the service. And I'm telling you, this was difficult. I was probably 114 degree track temp, so 10 degrees hotter than this. It's going to be a little more grippy than what I had, but it's still, 104 is not cold, especially at a road course with what I was feeling in the truck. I'm telling you, there's not going to be a lot of grip. A lot of guys are going to be self-spinning on throttle tonight. I think it's going to be the name of the game.
Yeah, and that kind of feeds into no cautions, so it really not going to be a lot of help there. I mean, if you self-spin, you're kind of just, dealing with what you have there. And you got to really limit your mistakes at a track like this, for sure. I mean, I'm even seeing John Lucido in the race chant talking about truck feels like hot Garbo So, I mean, clearly these guys are struggling with their vehicles. I do want to talk about the points. Of course, we saw a very dramatic race last week at Richmond, which didn't really hurt Keegan very much as you would think it would. He is still the points leader by almost 20 points. Carter Casey, he sits in second. He's about, I do believe, 19 points back from Keegan. Now, Carter's pretty fast here at Watkins Glen, it seems to be. Can he mount a charge? Of course, James Harris, he's in the third place position in points. Now, we're getting down to the wire when it comes to points here, championship running.
Absolutely. We're getting down to the wire. Only a couple weeks left after Watkins Glen. And, well, if Keegan doesn't have a bad night tonight, the rest of the field are really going to have to, I don't know, come up with a miracle over the last couple weeks. They really need him to make a big type of mistake tonight. And, you know, I said that I felt like it's a one-man show tonight with Keegan Sabilo in the pre-race picks. If he wrecks it, like I said, the truck's hard to drive. You could very well wreck it even if you're the fastest. That could kind of blow up in your face. So I really think that's what everybody's going to be hoping for tonight, because if he wins this one, I think the championship's probably going to be done and wrapped up. I got to point out, Nick Jazabowski in the chat, I think you might be missing one word in that sentence, Nick. Just one word. I'll let you decide what it is and where to place it.
But yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how this kind of goes. And I agree. I think Keegan could easily make a mistake here. And we also got to keep in mind, I mean, these guys cannot make it on fuel for this 35-lap race. They have 4 sets of tires altogether. I don't think they're going to use, except probably one of those sets. They're going to have to pit at least one time. And I think that's going to be, the deal breaker, you know, or make you or break you as well. Because, I mean, if these trucks are so difficult to handle, how do you navigate pit road? But it looks like I think we're getting started here.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Going to be a pretty long one. 35 laps here. Going to take a little while. But the qualifying has wrapped up, and we're getting a look at our starting grid. Keegan Sabilo on the pole by 0.8 of a second, a 112.436. John Horn on his outside with a 113.2. Kalen Mitchell lines up row number 2, starting in the third place spot with Carter Casey on his outside in 4th. James Harris lining up in the 5th place position with Colby Jackson in 6th. Nick Jazabowski lining up in 7th with Andrew Hill in 8th. Toby Ritters and John Lucido round out the top 10.
Brad Thacker is going to be starting in 11th. John Legger in 12th. Ledger, I think it is now. 14th, Tyler Meeks. 15th, Harley Barletta. And 16th, Jason Taylor. And that's looking I do believe, 16 car field here tonight, as everybody should be getting rolling here momentarily.
I think it's pretty safe to say, you know, you send a oval league to a road course and a couple guys don't show up. It's pretty consistent, right? You know, it's typically a little bit smaller fields whenever you bring an oval league out to one of these racetracks that happen to turn right.
Well, I mean, the thing is about it, though, I mean, the guys that are going for a championship, you have to show up for this. I mean, it's like, you know, if you don't show up, those are points that you've left on the table. I'll tell you what, next week's going to be a tough one. I mean, Milwaukee, and then we're going to Darlington. So, you know, we got some tough tracks on the docket here the next couple weeks. I mean, of course, the championship race being the track too tough to tame. Very curious to see how that one goes, and what a track to crown a champion at.
We do have one drop week in the standings, or built into the standing format for this season also, so that could play a role. And I do happen to know Keegan's lowest finish is 7th, and he's in the points lead, so by 19 points. So it's going to take a lot. They really need 2 bad races out of Keegan. So if he wins tonight, they're going to hope that, or they're going to have to hope that he gets wrecked at Milwaukee and Darlington.
Well, here we go, though. This is going to be a quick start here, as, of course, the pace car is going to be dipping, or pace truck, I should say, dipping down pit road as the green flag is getting ready to fly for the first time.
Keegan Sabilo leading them down after that lightning quick qualifying lap. Up to the restart zone. The green flag is flying, and we're racing from Watkins Glen.
Yeah, really good start here for him. But I'll tell you what, road course racing is so scary. Turn 1, 4 wide already going into turn 1. You see James Harris backs out of it. And wow, I mean, that actually went a little bit better than I expected it to. Usually turn 1 at the road course is a nightmare.
That was pretty clean. I can't believe they all made it through there pretty good. I mean, these things are evil. And we were 4 wide there for a moment entering the corner, 3 wide through the center. Everybody got out of it all right. So pretty good start from everybody. Keegan Sabilo, Kalen Mitchell, they're the 2 that got out of it the best, stretching out their lead over the rest of the pack. John Horn fell back from 2nd to 3rd. on the initial jump. He had the outside coming down into turn 1. And like I said, coming down to turn 1, these things don't turn, especially on the cold tires. Wouldn't be too surprised if a lot of those guys on the outside got caught out by the turning point there.
I'll tell you who I'm really impressed with. I mean, just the speed he's showing so far. I mean, of course, these guys haven't really completed a lap yet, but still, Colby Jackson in that 3 machine. I mean, usually we see him kind of struggling at other racetracks, I do believe, but he looks like he's a pretty capable road course racer as he's trying to fend off Carter Casey in the 8 machine. Of course, we see James Harris right there behind there. It looks like I think Colby, from what we're hearing from our producer, races go-karts, so has a little bit of, I guess, experience when it comes to racing on these kind of road courses.
Yeah, that might help him out a ton at the road course here, because you got to think a lot of these guys, right, are oval racers. Carter Casey making a move to his inside into turn 1, not going to be enough in it. Colby a little bit better on the brakes, kind of a tough move to make into that 90-degree corner. But for Colby, I mean, you got to think about everybody else. All these guys are oval racers on iRacing. Most of them, anyway. Not many of them really dip their toes into the road course side of things too frequently. So if you're racing on road courses in real life in a kart, that translates more than anything these guys do on an oval to a road course on iRacing.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, you also do got to keep in mind as well as these are different than a kart. I mean, this is the truck. This is, you've even mentioned how evil these things are. I mean, a kart, I think, could stick a whole lot better than this NASCAR truck would into a corner.
That's a dang good point, Ryan. I'll give you that. I will give you that. The oval, the harshness of handling a truck definitely translates better on iRacing for the oval guys. But to be fair, Colby has that experience too, so he's got the double dose.
Yeah, and you see, of course, Keegan, he's out to a monstrous lead already, 1.8 seconds as he completes lap number 1 here, and definitely seems like a fairly orderly race so far. Not a whole lot of craziness going on at the moment. Everybody kind of just running where they should be. I do want to mention Cody Hemingway is a lap down back in 16th. I'm wondering if maybe he missed the start. Maybe he had some technical woes there as we see Colby still trying to hold off Carter Casey. Casey just having a tough time. And one thing about it, this Watkins Glen, road course racing is a lot like short track racing, to where it's very, 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 very difficult to pass, and that can provoke a little bit of aggravation and could maybe even lead to, somewhat like a short track temper, flaring. Because you can see that, I mean, Carter is trying everything he can to get by this driver, and you can see, of course, John Horn as well, kind of holding both of these drivers. There goes Colby around.
Colby's going spinning out of the carousel. Oh, my word. I was just about to start talking about, yeah, it's hard to pass, but what's great about these trucks is that they're hard to drive, so you can force somebody into a mistake. That's what we just saw Carter Casey do to Colby Jackson.
Yeah, and I guarantee you Jason Taylor just had a little bit of probably a heart palpitation after seeing that 3 being sideways right out of that corner. And you see right here, the 3 goes around. No contact or anything like that. I don't think he's got any damage. His tires are going to be a little bit worn out. But this kind of goes to my first point again. I mean, no caution to save you. Nothing, Colby, all that track position, he was up in the top 5, is now gone. He's 15th now. As we take a look and see exactly what happened on board. I think the car was already unsettled after he came over the curbing.
Yeah, he clipped the curbing. The curbing pushed him towards the exit, and it kind of forced him to turn the wheel more to give him a push-loose condition, right? The curbing pushed him, made him tight, and then he put more wheel into it, and, well, too much wheel with too much throttle coming off the corner. We call that a push-loose. See it time and time again. We're going to see it a lot tonight, I do believe. And there, like I said, after he spun, it's so hard to pass, like you mentioned. It is very, very hard to pass here on merit if somebody is perfect. But I'm going to tell you right now, in these trucks, there is nobody in this field that is going to be perfect tonight. All right, and it's not a slight on anybody in the field. If you have 7,000 I rating with this truck, you probably would not be perfect tonight. It is that hard to drive.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean, you're 100% right, and I think it's just minimizing your mistakes. If you're going to make a mistake, but do you make the most drastic mistakes, the mistakes that cost you a ton? That's going to be the difference maker. I mean, you're really going to want to be able to kind of, if you do make a mistake, don't make it look too apparent. A lot of times when the best drivers in real life as well, just driving in general when it comes to competitive motorsports, the little mistakes these guys make. I mean, drivers make mistakes all the time. It's just they minimize them so much to where you can't really tell that they made a mistake.
Yeah, your mistake needs to be that you missed the apex by about half a foot, not that you've spun the car out coming out of the carousel,
Yeah.
right?
Right. You know, to a layperson, you didn't make a mistake. You know.
Yeah. To most people that were watching Austin Dillon on Sunday night, you would think that that he didn't make a
He
mistake.
didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong. Unfortunately, those people would be wrong.
Wrong.
uh,
But definitely pretty calm, collected race right now. Not a whole lot of stuff going on. I mean, I see Carter Casey trying to catch up to John Horn, but Horn, another driver that's doing really, really well here tonight. Up in the top 3. I mean, this is a good night for the 28. I think this is probably one of the best performances we've seen from him. Of course, we're only on lap 6. Still a long, long, long way to go. But I'm really liking this. I'm very impressed with what we're seeing from the 28. He's running some good laps. Of course, right now the best driver on the track is Keegan Sabilo by a long shot, half a second faster than the next driver, which is Kalen Mitchell. Another driver, though, that is turning some pretty good laps, James Harris. He's been putting a lot of practice in. Toby Ritters, he just turned his fastest lap of the race, minute 14.101, and we'll see if he can continue to get faster. Now, one thing about it is these road courses, you know, as you continue to turn laps, now you might not get faster because, of course, the tire wear will start to bother you, but you do get more reps, right? I mean, you get more, you know, you get what I'm saying? Like you start to learn the track a little bit more in a way, and you could possibly get better as the run goes on.
Absolutely. And, you know, we go to ovals where typically as the run goes on, Toby Ritters gets a little bit worse, right? He's typically really, really good in the short run, but pushes his tires too much. Here, a road course, as long as you're not sliding the tires, which, to be fair, he did right there, you're not really wearing them out like you would be at an oval compared to everybody else. You're supposed to push as hard as possible into these braking zones, right? So if you're Ritters, I think this is an opportunity, and I told that to a couple people pre-race. I was being asked who I thought were going to be some of the faster guys here tonight. And Toby Ritters was at the top of my list. Not the number 1 spot, but I thought he was going to be a top 5 driver by the end of the night, just off of his short run pace alone on the ovals. I think that it typically shows that you're going to be somewhat decent as long as you can keep the car on the racetrack. And so far, Ritters has done a good job doing that.
Yeah, and that's really all you can ask for is stay on the racetrack. I mean, a lot of times with road course racing, I mean, I hate to say it, it seems like if you're just able to stay on the racetrack, and you don't have to turn the fastest laps, if you just are consistent, you know, success will come to you, because there will be guys that are faster than you that are hot lappers that are able to put a really, really, really fast lap down, and they'll spin out, and it doesn't matter how fast they were. They lost all their track position. I mean, kind of that's just what you expect to see at a road course. So, I mean, really, if you can just get it down to a rhythm in a way to where you just do the same thing every lap. Don't make mistakes.
I'm seeing people make little mistakes throughout the field. I'm just kind of like shifting through some people. I'm seeing just people hitting curbing in corners that I'm just very nervous about them hitting the curbing, right? Like the last corner, I don't know if you really want to touch that curbing. It's a little unbanked, uncambered for your car. I just worry about it. If you hit that curbing right there a little bit too heavy through the S's for Kalen Mitchell, I'm a little bit worried about it through the carousel. Like we saw earlier with Colby Jackson, I'm very worried about it. There's just a couple curbs with how unsteady this truck is. You have to stay off of. Obviously, the bus stop are not those curbs. You absolutely have to destroy them, which is something that makes this track so much fun.
Yeah, I see, of course, some battles starting to progress throughout the field. I see Tyler Meeks. He's kind of been running down Andrew Hale. This is for, I do believe, the 8th place position. A lot of these guys have been putting practice in, you know, throughout the week. But Meeks, he looked like he was struggling quite a bit in practice, but actually looks like he's gotten a little bit better here during the race. And a lot of times in practice, you're kind of trying to push it as hard as you can to get the fastest laps you can. But when you're in the race, it's like a completely different mindset. You know, I have to be able to run 35 laps.
It's tough to do, especially when the car's this hard to handle. This is one of the few races where I feel like you actually have to really, really kind of rein yourself in, because you will physically exert yourself to the point of not exhaustion, but you're going to be sweating in your seat. You're going to be tired at the end of this race, and you're going to be making some mistakes because of being tired, honestly.
Yeah.
Most of the time in the ovals or even some of the other road courses, whenever you're in the next gen car and the car is easy as hell to drive, you don't have to worry about that because you're just not having to fight it too much. You're fighting it so much here tonight, man.
Yeah, for sure. And that, definitely makes your focus, I think, the primary resource, right? I mean, you have to always remain focused, and if you lapse at all, you're going to end up making a mistake, especially if you go over one of these curves, and let's say you just blink for just a second, you're spinning out, and no caution is going to save you. So, I mean, this is in a lot of ways hard mode in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series.
Toby Ritters has gotten by James Harris for the 5th place position. That happened on lap 8 going down into turn number 1. I don't know if we could possibly get a replay on that, but James Harris was dead sideways coming down into turn 1, just late on the turn-in point, and then the back end steps out of him, got really, really loose coming out of 2, and it caused the whole issue. And the guy in front of him went wide too, Carter Casey. So I was saying in the pre-race, it's extremely hard to turn into the corner into turn 1. You can just easily get it wrong, and you see Harris got it wrong in front of Ritters there big time. Couldn't quite see the loose condition from that camera angle, but tough break for Harris, losing 1 spot, but he hung onto the truck and keeping himself at least in a good position for now. Like we've been talking about, long race, 35 laps, long way to go. A lot better than what happened to Colby Jackson earlier.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he knew he had made a mistake, so he kind of just laid over and let Toby go. And, if Toby can stay consistent, then that's a top 5 finish for him. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we know Toby very fast on the shorter runs. Let's see if he's able to continue to be consistent. I mean, 10 laps in, and we haven't had too many issues. I do want to talk about Colby Jackson. Colby was in the top 5 earlier in the race. He's now up to 12th. He's been working his way forward. As the run's been going on, I know we have a battle going on. I do believe 8th place. Tyler Meeks as well is working. I think he just got by Andrew Hale. So definitely good to see that for sure. We're seeing some passes being happening on the racetrack. I think we have a replay dialed up. This might be, I think, John Ledger with some issues here in that 19 machine. Yeah, just blows through the bus stop. Ooh. Locks it up.
Wow, really good job getting that righted the right way. Typically, whenever I see people get off the brakes and turn it back to the left, they don't get all the turning back to the left done and end up nosing it into the wall. Ledger there, though, it worked out perfect for him to where he lost as little time as possible. He just about had to back that thing up rather than just riding out of it. So pretty good save there from Ledger. Unfortunate back in 14th place for now. So not the night he's hoping for, but still a long ways to go.
One thing we got to, I'm surprised that I think we're going to see it sooner than I think we suspected, is going to be lap traffic. Keegan is quickly catching up on Jason Taylor, on John Ledger, who we were just looking at. I think we got another replay, somebody else blowing through a corner. And I think that's Jazabowski. Yeah, he just misses the exit there.
It's a slowdown. And
that's a slowdown penalty. You got to yield that time. But that was definitely a lot tamer than it could have been. Very easy to make catastrophic mistakes at this track, and that's, I think, not too bad of a mistake right there. That you lose time, but your truck still runs.
I agree with you 100%. And that's what I was talking about earlier. You want how we were kind of talking about, like, you want your mistake to be missing the apex by 6 inches, not wrecking your race car. I mean, that's it's the same thing right there. Instead of continuing to turn hard left and trying so hard to make that corner and risking your race truck, you're like, screw it, I'm just going to take it through the grass. There's nobody by me. I'm not going to hit anybody. Let's take the slow down. Live to fight another day. Great job from Jazabowski, in all seriousness, especially because he's up in 7th. That would have been pretty tough for him to go from 7th back to, the back of the field.
Yeah, I know a lot of these guys have got to be starting to struggle as well with the handling of their trucks. I mean, you can see the lap times have very much fallen off. I mean, over a second. Some drivers falling off, I think, even almost 2 seconds. So we're definitely seeing, the tires really worn out on these race machines. As we're watching, I do believe, Carter Casey through his eyes as he's been trying desperately to catch up to John Horn, but hasn't been able to do so as of yet. But looking on board, I mean, you could just see that these trucks are definitely on edge. And one thing that's so difficult is the shifting aspect of this race as well. As I think we see somebody missing the corner. That's Brad Thacker.
I don't know if he had like a toe issue there or what, but looking back at a replay, get an idea of what happened out of the bus stop. Oh, just a weird transition from the curbing to the racetrack, and just never had it saved, and that's huge contact. What? Why did the bumper fly backwards? What in the world?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Looks like Andrew Hale maybe had an issue.
Oh, this is grass. Yep.
Yeah,
Puts
just
him
a
off
little
on the
bit of
entry.
grass there.
Yeah.
He really didn't lose that much time on Meeks. I mean, he really Meeks must have probably made a little bit of a mistake as well to kind of even out, because their lap times were virtually identical. Just separated by probably about a couple hundredths. So not too bad there for those two drivers. They're still going to be able to race for that 8th place position as Colby Jackson, of course, trying to still cut his way through the field. I think he just got by John Lacido a little bit ago. So Colby definitely showing some good pace right now. He's faster than a lot of the guys ahead of him, like Harley Barletta. But he's got a long way to go to get up to Barletta as we're looking on board with Keegan. Keegan's got about a 9-second lead right now. He's really closing in quickly on Jason Taylor. Now, as I mentioned, lap traffic, not something I expected to see this early, Austin. And I think it could cause a problem depending on where Keegan catches him. But, I mean, Keegan's got such a gap back to second place. I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. I think Keegan could really back it down. He's got a pretty good buffer zone.
You really, 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 really do not want to catch him in the bus stop. Everywhere else, you can maybe make it work. You can find something to get by him. If you catch him into the braking zone of the bus stop, nah. Good luck. You're losing so much time. I mean, it's my favorite corner. I have a ton of fun in the corner, but it's the worst one to catch any type of traffic. I mean, it is just terrible to work through. So if you're Keegan, you've really just got to pick your moments wisely, especially with this big of a lead, right? You don't want to make any boneheaded decision being this far out in the lead, right? Like you can give up a second or two passing a lap car. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. He definitely has a pretty good bit of a buffer. As we see John Ledger, he just decided to come down pit road. He was just going a lap down. As I think we have a replay dialed up. Not sure exactly what happened. I think we have something happened here. And I think this could be Ledger with some sort of issue here. This might have why he came to pit road, as he just, wow, look at that, taking a trip through the sand. Woo, yeah, a little bit of wall contact there. Low speed hit, but I think that's why he came to pit road, probably to fix a little bit of that.
Yeah, fix a little bit of it down. For sure. You're definitely gonna have to buff out that right side a little bit. And we're in the pit window at this point. You can come down pit road right now and make it to the end. So not necessarily the end of the world, but I would still, with how much fall off we're seeing, I would, if I was in a position battle with anybody, I would be hoping to be on the newest tires latest. I feel like just with how much fall off we're seeing. I mean, it's pretty immense.
Yeah, and that would make me probably want to split it in half or possibly do that. I mean, Then again, that overcut, that undercut could really be something useful. I mean, both the overcut and undercut. I mean, if you execute it properly, it looks like Ledger's come back to pit road. So it seems like maybe he had an issue. And that's another thing that these guys could have an issue with is cold tires. I mean, you get so used to having to wheel it on the old tires, and you kind of get that Superman syndrome on the new tire and make a mistake and spin it out.
Yeah, I've seen that time and time again. That's for sure. I've been a part of that time and time again.
So I think we've all
been there.
Made the mistake of not realizing how the cold tires were going to react.
Well,
the battle's going on. I think that's Andrew Hale. Of course, has I think that's a truck on newer tires, a lap car.
Cody Hemingway. I don't know if he's got new tires. I think he got into. He just missed the start of the race by a lap, so he ended up coming out on the racetrack just a little bit late, and he's just working himself back through the field, seeing if anybody wrecks out at some point to hopefully pick up some position. It's kind of unfortunate for Hemingway because he's been quick.
Yeah, I mean that is really unfortunate for him because I mean if you look at his lap times, he's right on pace with what Keegan's running. I mean he's showing a lot of pace, and I mean at this point in the race, I think he would be a top 3 truck if he was. If he had started the race,
could have been back to back for
everybody here. Yeah, no, I mean he's showing a lot of pace, and that's really unfortunate for him. That's just you got to be here on time. I mean, and you know what it could have been. I mean the schedule of tonight's race was a little bit different than other events. I mean we of course had the 10-minute qualifying. They had it scheduled a little bit earlier, and that even threw us a little bit for a loop. So I mean of course it could have threw Cody Hemingway a little bit off.
Well, and who knows? Real life gets in the way sometimes, to where sometimes you
That's
just sit
true.
down at your computer a little bit late. Maybe dinner ran a little bit late. Maybe he was busy pushing some poop out. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we're going to leave you guys with that as we head into our first commercial break of the racing action. Whenever we come back, who knows? We might have some more poo jokes.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. A good chunk of the, well, the camera might have been a little messed up there, but a good chunk of the green flag pit stops have cycled through. Keegan Sabilo has decided to come down pit road already. He slid through his box, still came out 10 seconds ahead of Kalen Mitchell, so not too terrible for Keegan, even though I thought it was going to be bigger. He was stuck there for a long, long time. But we're coming up on 15 laps to go as Keegan's coming out of the carousel.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, that just shows you can make a mistake, though. I mean, that wasn't a huge mistake, but it still is a mistake nonetheless. And it shows Keegan is capable of those. And you know, who knows as this race goes on, do we see any more mistakes from that driver? I do want to mention as well, James Harris falling all the way back now to 8th place. He's lost quite a number of positions. He's John Lacido. I don't know if Lacido. I think Lacido hasn't been down pit road yet, so there could be still some. Yeah, Lacido. I am. Now seeing that he has not pitted yet. So there's some that have yet to pit. and could guys get back up to their original positions? Possibly. I think Harley Barletta's still out on the track as well.
Yep. I don't, pushing it this long, I don't know. Just with how much fall off there has been, I'm worried. I just feel like it's a little too much on the fall off to push this too long. Lucido way off the racetrack in turn 1, letting a couple of the lead lap cars by. Not really giving them too much of an issue. Fair play from Lucido there.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you decide to stay out this long, I mean, you're not really helping yourself at all. Because there's no, I mean, like, I would understand if we were at another type of track and a caution came out, like, oh yeah, you gained track position. That's not going to happen here. Unless we see like the entire track, I think, blocked. I think that would be the only way we'd see a caution flag fly. It's possible, but I highly doubt it.
I've seen it. Now, to be fair, I've only seen it happen in leagues where they throw yellow whenever it happens on a restart, right? Like, 30 cars pile up in the S's. You have to throw the yellow. If there's 2 and there's only 16 cars on the racetrack, you can let it slide for a little while.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just kind of usually always been the rule when it comes to NASCAR road races. You don't see really the caution ever being thrown unless something catastrophic happens. But so, I definitely don't think we'll see the yellow flag. But we do see, of course, some racing going on. I do believe the 10, I shouldn't say racing. The 10 is not on the lead lap, but he has been slowly but surely working his way up through the grid. And I think it's just fun to watch, how fast this 10 is and what could have been for this driver. I think he would have been a top 5 truck, that's for sure. As Keegan Sabilo now back out to that about 10-second lead. And look at this. This is going to be an interesting pass to try to make in these S's.
Yeah, and smart move there from Meeks, though. Yeah, smart from Meeks. He knows Cody's not on the lead lap, and he knows that Cody's faster than him. So why the heck would you fight him, right? I mean, just an intelligent move there from Tyler Meeks. No reason to fight the guy down in the S's down into the bus stop like that.
Yeah, 100%. Just live to fight another day. That's not our battle. He's not, yeah, for sure. I'm right there with you.
Oh, no, Jason Taylor. Oh, did he save it? He's still fishtailing. Oh, he took his teammate out. Andrew Hale's into the fence.
Oh, man. Yeah, and I saw some major damage to the 4 as Taylor's coming to a stop. That is unfortunate. I'm not sure exactly. I think he just got loose on the exit of the corner, and unfortunately, teammate Hale was right there. These guys are known for working together on the super speedways. You can see just right there, overcorrects it. And I got to be honest, if I knew my teammate was behind me, I don't know if I would be trying to correct it. I think that was probably the wrong move. I think in order to be the most predictable that I could be for my teammate's sake, I would have just stayed stuck going where I was going,
I agree to an extent, but it almost felt like he had it on one of those. It's just
he almost had it saved.
It was a little too aggressive with the wheel inputs.
Yeah.
I like the effort, right? It sucks. But I guarantee you in that moment, you're not thinking, oh, Andrew's exactly a second behind me. I need to watch out. You're thinking, oh my God, I'm dying. Oh my God, I'm dying. Oh my God, I'm dying. Like, in the moment, it's a tough decision to make.
Man, I tell you what, I guarantee you Andrew's not sending any Christmas cards because, I mean, he's got some pretty good front end damage. I mean, that Silverado nose is pretty pretty dented pretty heavily. Well, I'm wondering if that's going to affect his lap times at all. He is still keeping pace with Nick Jazabowski right now, so we'll see what he's able to continue to do. One thing about these trucks, I don't know if the updates have changed that, but I know that whenever you got front end damage on this truck before, it would cause major heating issues. Do you think that's going to be the case here?
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, I think it'll hurt, especially because that was a good chunk of contact, to be fair, for Andrew Hale. So I definitely think it'll go up. Now, I don't know. Let me check at the setup to see how much tape is on this thing. Well, it just says race. I don't know how much percentage race is, but
yeah, that's another thing that is a more recent thing in these vehicles that you really can't. You used to be able to have a certain percentage of tape. Yeah. Now it's kind of just you have race or qual tape.
Well, then yeah, it could overheat a little bit. Now, the good thing about a road course is you can manage that, right? You go down to turn 1, you go down to the bus stop, You go down to the penultimate corner of the lap, like these guys are about to do right here, coming out of the carousel, and you lift 300 feet early and brake at the same point as you always do, and it just cools the engine off. Yeah, you're a little bit slower, but it's better than blowing your engine.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely gonna hurt him, but he's still turning laps. I mean, a minute 15 was his last lap. Let's see what this lap's gonna look like. It might even be faster. He was able to get behind Jazabowski. He's still in 8th place right now. So yeah, minute 15.7. And of course, he's not gonna want to. Yeah, and he's not gonna want to be behind someone for too long as well.
Missed it. He missed turn 1 huge and let Jazabowski right back by. So I would imagine he's definitely struggling with that damage.
The handling. I mean, the handling's got to. I mean, if he affected the suspension at all, I mean, the aerodynamics. I mean, all of that can have a huge impact. I mean, on the truck. So you know, he's definitely probably struggling. I mean, looking at the wheel though, it looks fairly straight. I don't think it has messed the toe up, which is going to be good for him. I do want to turn our attention back up to 5th place though. Toby Ritter's under fire from James Harris right now. And I think we're going to possibly see a battle going on for 5th very, very shortly. These guys are running almost identical lap times at the moment. As you can see, the 55 drives it in deep, trying to get up to the back bumper of the 23.
John Lucido is driving really hard to stay on the lead lap right now over Keegan Sabilo. He is kind of blocking him into turn 1. He's going shallow into the bus stop right now. Actually letting Keegan by. Yeah, he actually finally lets Keegan by into the inner loop. But a little nervy moment between the two down into turn 1. They get it all sorted out. Keegan still in the race lead. Loses a little bit of time to Kalen.
A lot of time, actually. Yeah. I mean, he had about a 9.6 second gap back to Kalen. Now he's 8 seconds. So he lost a whole second and a half or so in that exchange. So Lucido desperate to hold onto that position. And, you know, you kind of can't blame him. I mean, of course, he stayed out very long there on those older tires and really didn't want to lose that lap. But
Keegan got the wall.
Still staying right there with him. And,
well, he's got newer tires now, so it makes sense that he would want to stay in front of Keegan. He would think maybe he could pull away.
Could be the case. I'll tell you what, though, Keegan is he's under some pressure right now. This is not probably where Keegan wants to be right now, to have this 73 all over him. And we know Lucido is a very aggressive guy. He's been showing more and more speed week in and week out as well. I mean, I think he get third last week at Richmond or top 3, if I'm not mistaken.
So.
Second.
I think it was
got second.
Yeah.
He got second. I mean, he's been showing a lot of pace, and you know, I got to say I'm impressed with the 73, the way he's been improving every week. But I do believe now Keegan has separated from him.
And it's hard to, you know, I don't want to harp on Lucido because he's running, you know, 12th today. It's a road course. You know, you come to these places, some people just don't, you know, it's just not their driving style. It's if you've never tried it really or never pushed yourself to give it a go whenever you're an oval guy, you're just not going to get it whenever you come here for the road course racing. Maybe that's not Lucido's case, but to your point, he's been a lot quicker at the ovals as of late. I feel like he's made a big stride forward.
Yeah, he's been in contention to win some. I mean, I think that there's been races where he's kind of just showing up at the end of them. We're like, man, where did he come from? He's showing a lot of pace, and I definitely think that you know, seasons in the future, he could definitely be someone we could see as a potential runner for a championship. I do want to talk. Of course, we're looking at this battle right now. You see Cody Hemingway coming up onto the 55 here. This could be interesting. I mean, I know there is kind of a little bit of bad blood between Sabilo's team and James Harris. We've been seeing that drama kind of play out over this season, but it looks like I think everything went drama-free, which I'm actually thankful for.
Yeah, all clean and green right there going down into turn number 1. You know, for Cody, to be fair, he might like James Harris because everything that happened last week let Cody Hemingway win his first race in the league. So
that's true. Yeah,
he might be sending James Harris a big fruit basket. We don't know.
Secretly, you don't want nobody to know.
Exactly. He's not going to tell Keegan about it, but he might.
I want to talk about Colby Jackson. He's one that I've been kind of keeping an eye on. He's been recovering very nicely, up to 9th place right now. Of course, he's following right behind Brad Thacker, trying to see if he can get around this driver. I know Thacker, I do believe, is a lap down, so this is not for position. But, I mean, just got to give respect where respect is due. You know, the guy was running up in the top 5, of course, had an issue, spun out, went all the way back to like 15th. I mean, even though, yeah, he's not in the top 5, he has no, chance of winning this race. It's still impressive to see him, determined to still earn himself a top 10 finish.
It's so easy after you spin out of a road course like this in the early going from the top 5 to just alt F4. It really is. I mean, you're just like, oh my God, this race is over. And league race, you don't have any I rating to play for. Maybe you're out of the championship hunt, so you don't care anymore. Now you're out of it for the race win. Colby Jackson didn't do that. He made a mistake early on, stayed in the race, dropped all the way to the back of the field, and like you said, drove up to the 9th place position. That's a heck of a recovery from the driver of the 3. So great job from Colby tonight.
I'll tell you another driver deserves a really big, just a lot of praise right now. It's got to be John Horn, the 28 machine.
True.
What is going on here with the 28? I mean, this is his best run I think we've ever seen. I mean, this guy, we really usually don't see him running up into top 3, but look at him at a road course. I mean, this is a driver's track in a lot of ways. I mean, road course racing requires someone that knows the racetrack and as well knows how to drive the truck. And clearly he knows how to do both at this racetrack, and he's fast. I mean, he's held on to that position from, Carter Casey is not a slouch, and Casey has not been able to catch that 28. I mean, in some regards, I'd say Horn is faster than Mitchell at some points. I mean, really, the lap times are looking really good from Horn. Just got to say, colored me impressed.
I agree with you 100%. He was only 8 thousandths of a second slower than Kalen last time by. So he's matching him for lap times. Keegan still 3 or 4 tenths ahead of these guys in terms of raw pace. But to your point, I mean, Carter Casey running in 4th behind John Horn is a race winner in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Won at Darlington, one of the biggest drivers racetracks that we go to, if not the biggest. And John Horn's beating them heads up here for the podium spot. So hell of a race from John Horn so far. Looking at Nick Jazabowski, who's not going to win this race, coming down to the penultimate corner. And we're about to see why he will not win the race. Well, no, he just goes way off the racetrack. That's not too bad. Unless he loops it in the final corner.
I mean, he's not having a bad race either.
Right.
I mean, he's really not having a bad. I mean, yeah, these guys. I gotta say, these guys are not that fast. They're not like setting track records with their lap times or anything like that. But they're at least consistently turning laps, and that there's something to be said about that. I mean, that's what if you just stay on the track and you're consistent, you're gonna find success. I mean, in a 7th place finish, at Watkins Glen is nothing to bat an eye at.
Yeah, honestly, after trying out this truck last week, I thought that this was going to be a messier race. I thought it was going to be harder for these guys to keep the car on the track. Now, they've been making plenty of mistakes in terms of missing apexes or getting loose out of corners, but they've kept the car under them for the most part, right? Just a couple spinners so far tonight. So I'm pleasantly surprised at how clean it's been. I thought it was going to be way more difficult for these guys.
One thing I'm just noticing, and I wish I had noticed it sooner, Tyler Meeks. This guy, he was running really well earlier in the race, was kind of battling with Andrew Hale.
Is that Barletta that spun out in pit road?
Yeah, Barletta with an issue. As he spins on the entrance to pit road. Very hurt truck there. Massive front end damage. I'm wondering exactly what happened to Barletta here. I don't think this is a scheduled pit stop. As he just gets loose. Yeah, I think he just gets loose on the exit there.
Man, the tire barrels launched him into the air after hitting it with the left front.
Ooh,
that was
that's
a huge impact.
Yeah, that's a tough hit right there for Barletta, and he just probably just speechless. After especially towards the end of the race, you just hate to see that. Let's take a look and see exactly what happened.
Just a little too hard on the gas, man. That's how I was talking about in the pre-race. It is so finicky. If you are not so tidy pressing your foot down on the gas pedal, you're going to rip it around. You saw his wheel. That was a natural line. That was a natural straight wheel out of the corner. It was just too much throttle.
He didn't have a whole lot of wheel in it.
Jazabowski in turn 1. He's spinning it. He's looped it back around to the left. He was spinning to the right. He overcorrects. Andrew Hale goes by for 7th. Can he correct it and stay in front of Colby Jackson?
Could be another position possibly for Colby as we're going to take a look at this and see exactly what happened. Locked up the brakes, it looks like.
Well, maybe a little too jerky of a wheel input too, right on the initial turn in. because like the loose condition started as soon as he turned that wheel. I just feel like maybe it was a little aggressive on the initial tug down to the corner with a little bit
And
too
one
much
thing,
speed.
you know, we got to realize is, of course, you're asking, you know, these tires, when you brake, when you turn the wheel, when you press the gas, that asks, you know, from the tires. That is asking something from the tires. And when you go over that 100% mark, that's when you hear a race car driver talk about they pushed it over the limit. Whenever he had that brake pedal on there and he had too much wheel in it, it pushed the limit. And that's, I think, exactly why he broke loose right there going into turn 1. I mean, he just was asking too much of his tires.
Carter Casey here still in 4th, trying to run down John Horn. 3 laps to go. I think he's going to run out of time. Been kind of hovering around that 4-second gap behind John Horn because they've just been about equal on pace. You know, through that first stint, they kind of separated themselves, and then everybody's been relatively even since then, other than Sabilo out front.
It'll be a really big confidence builder for Horn, I do believe. I mean, this is a stellar day for him, and I think it's going to lead to further success in the future in this series. There's now 2 laps to go here for Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo with a almost 13-second lead right now on Kalen Mitchell. Just a fantastic domination. I mean, this guy is taking everybody to school.
No! Mitchell,
Oh,
he spun
Mitchell.
out. John Horn, can he get by? It might be 3 wide with the lap card. John Horn's going to go around the outside of his teammate. He's going to take second.
John Horn possibly going to get a second-place finish here because of a mistake from Kalen Mitchell. Can we see that mistake? What happened to the 67? Let's take a look. As we're looking, this is going to be another turn 1 mistake, I do believe. And I think, yeah, this is exactly what Jezebowski just did, isn't it?
It is. The exact same. Oh, my gosh, he got so lucky he did not hit that fence. My word. Maybe he did downshift too quick.
It could have been shifting, yeah.
That could have been what happened to Jezebowski, too.
It could have been. He could have maybe, you know, a lot of times when you're shifting the RPMs,
Yep,
you know, just lightens the truck.
You're right.
Yeah, no, I think our producer called it there. He came really close to hitting that guardrail.
Oh, I thought for sure. Keegan Sabilo's taking the white flag. I mean, we've kind of given him the Max Verstappen treatment of not watching him throughout the entire race because he's been so far out in front. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, the last lap, you kind of got to show him, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Coming through the S's for the final time. I mean, a dominating performance from Sabilo. It probably shouldn't have been a 20-second gap, but Kalen made sure that it would be a 20-second gap for him. But nonetheless, still dominating performance from Sabilo. It was over 15 seconds before the issue from Kalen, and he's just walking away with this thing. But he does have a couple lap cars in front of him to be careful with.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's got Jason Taylor. He's got Colby Jackson. But, you know, it looks like he's going to get by Taylor okay. Glad to see Taylor back on the racetrack and not giving up as well. As, of course, see Keegan comes up to the back of the 3 machine. This is going to be the second to last corner as he comes up to that final corner. Turn 8 here at Watkins Glen International. And he will win this race by a country mile.
Keegan Sabilo. He's going to come across the line and win at Watkins Glen. Look at John Horn in second. He's been able to stay in front of Kalen Mitchell after that mistake. And he's going to come through the penultimate corner and the final corner to get his best finish in the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. A second place tonight for John Horn. What a drive. Kalen Mitchell with a mistake, going to come home third, so still on the podium for Kalen. Carter Casey side by side with lap truck of John Lucido for 4th. James Harris ends up passing Toby Ritter's in the last couple laps of this thing. I think Ritters might have made a mistake in finishing 4 seconds back. So Harris going to end up squeaking out the top 5. Toby Ritter's still great night for him, finishing in 6th.
Yeah, definitely a great run for those drivers. And Andrew Hale as well. I got to give him a lot of credit. Of course, he hasn't crossed the line yet. But, I mean, after that front-end damage as a result of teammate Jason Taylor, still limping at home in 7th. Got to give him a ton of credit for that.
Andrew Hale coming across the line. Check flag flying for him. He's going to come across in 7th. Nick Jazabowski a little bit further back, coming out of the final corner. Colby Jackson, you saw him sliding. He was trying to get there. He was trying to pick up that one more position. Still a great recovery from Colby in 9th. Jazabowski did not win this race, but a very respectable 8th. Oh,
wow.
That
Colby,
was impressive.
I don't think he wants to survive this race. Wow, what a hit. But Keegan Sevilla coming home in victory lane, and I think that makes race number 2 of the season. As he's definitely going to be celebrating this one. I mean, yeah, I think he won. He's been really good at the road courses, and clearly he's showing. I mean, he's really good at anywhere you have to use that brake pedal. But now he's not having to use that brake pedal. He's using that loud pedal to, celebrate this victory.
And as Keegan celebrates his victory tonight in the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series, we're going to take our final commercial break of the race. Whenever we come back, we got interviews for the top 3. Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. We have just finished up the racing action from the Watkins Glen International. I don't know why I said the. Keegan Sabilo up in first. John Horn with his best finish ever in the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series in second. Kayla Mitchell, all teammates, rounding out the top 3 on the podium. Carter Casey in 4th, James Harris 5th, Toby Ritters in 6th, Andrew Hale in 7th, Nick Jazabowski in 8th, Colby Jackson in 9th, and John Lucido rounds out your top 10.
Cody Hemingway, who started a lap down, pretty much missed the start. He finishes in 11th place. Brian Thacker, 12th. Harley Barletta with a very dramatic pit entry, finishes 13th. Jason Taylor in 14th. Tyler Meeks in 15th. Of course, John Ledger rounds out the 16-car field.
That's going to do it for your full race rundown here tonight. Next up, we're going to bring up our top 3 finishers. And first up is going to be Kalen Mitchell, who we thought was going to be second place. I'm going to be talking to Brian, but I guess he just really didn't want to talk to Brian. He wanted to spin out with 3 laps to go so that he could talk to me instead. Kalen, I appreciate it, buddy. He's not even here to hear that. Oh, there he is. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, things happen.
Man, what did happen? Can you give us a little bit of insight? What happened coming down to turn number 1?
Well, I had to overheat my tires trying to get by lap cars that have no business trying to race you and run you all over the track and wreck you and everything. But other than that, I mean, I kind of was zoning out too, just kind of riding along.
Yeah, pretty tame race for you guys up front here tonight. Kind of expected whenever you come to a road course like Watkins Glen. Now, on that accident, were you panicking a little bit more seeing that big blue barrier coming your way? Did you think your race might be over?
I wasn't panicky. I was just trying to avoid it. I don't think I was in a panic. I just tried to make sure I didn't hit it.
Okay, well, another good night for you tonight, finishing up on the podium, even though it's not the second that you wanted, but still a great 3rd place finish, and your teammates finished up there in 1-2. So a great night there for the whole team. Who do you have to thank at the end of this one?
I want to thank Mac Tools and DeWalt on my car, and Stanley Black & Deckard, and Dwayne for making this all possible, and Keegan for letting me on his team, and you guys for putting on a great broadcast.
We appreciate you, Kalen, and congratulations once again on that 3rd place finish tonight.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that was Kalen Mitchell, your 3rd place finisher. Next up, we're going to bring up John Horn, your 2nd place finisher, to talk to Brian Britt.
Alrighty, you get the pleasure of talking to John Horn. What a fantastic run for you, John. The 28 machine never looked better, I don't believe. I mean, it seemed like you just good at the road courses. What's behind that? I mean, usually I got to say, we don't really see you run top 3.
I don't know. It's just, Watkins Glen's a fun track, and it's just one of those, just keep on the asphalt, and good things will happen.
And it definitely seemed like that's exactly the case here. I mean, consistency seemed to be key. Now I think you're selling yourself a little bit short as well. You had some speed to back it up. I mean, you were right around the same speed of Kalen Mitchell and Carter Casey. Did you put a lot of practice in at Watkins Glen?
No, not really. Just probably about an hour and a half. That's really about it. But I've run a lot of laps here, and it's just a fun track. It's just keep up the momentum, and it's like I said, good things will happen if you just keep on track.
And definitely second place finish gonna be the reward for your efforts. Does this do anything for you confidence wise as you go into Milwaukee next week?
Yeah, a little bit. I struggle at Milwaukee, so we'll have to figure that one out. That one's kind of a tough track for me for some reason. I don't understand it, but really looking forward more to Daytona. Did we run Daytona? Yeah, Daytona and Darlington. I think
Darlington is the last track that
yeah.
we're going to be going to in a couple weeks, and that's going to be an interesting one for sure. So you're a big Darlington fan.
Oh yeah, I love that place. The more that wears out, the funner it is.
All right, well, we're definitely going to look forward to seeing what you could do there if you're able to succeed here at Watkins Glen. I mean, that's a track as well. If you're able to be consistent and stay within the lines, you're going to do well. Race the racetrack and not the cars around you. So who can we shout out, John?
I'd like to thank my sponsor, Lennox here. My teammates at SRE. Like I said, we put in a couple laps last night and all that. So Keegan helped me out a lot with something. He showed me something and it clicked. So congrats to him on winning top 3 for us. So good deal for us. So good job.
Yeah, definitely a great run for you and your team here as well. 1, 2, 3 finish. Got to love that. Got to be proud of the team. We'll see you next time, John.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
That was your second place finisher, John Horn. Next up, we're going to pull up the race winner, Keegan Sabilo, and give him a little bit of a chat. I said it in the pre-race, during the pre-race picks, that if you weren't picking Keegan Sabilo, I don't know why you're even here. And, well, I was proved right once again. Keegan Sabilo brings home the checkered flag. Keegan, I mean, I don't know if there's really much to talk about, to be honest with you. You saw a lot of just, asphalt in front of you all day, it seemed like.
Yeah, no, for sure. We had this Mac Tools hot rod hooked up tonight, so a lot of work went into this one, for sure. We put a lot of time into prepping this and just to feel confident. That's what a lot of these road courses are about, is just getting used to it, hitting every mark right, and preparing yourself. So thankful we were able to get it done tonight. Last week stung, and it still stings, for sure. It was out of our control, but thankfully we're able to move on with this one. This one makes it feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I imagine that, bringing home the checkered flag tonight can kind of cure a lot of ailments and bolsters your chances in the championship with just a couple weeks to go. It's looking pretty good for you. How do you feel about the championship winding down to the last couple weeks?
Yeah, my my only drop week that I have used right now is 7th at Nashville, so we should be sitting pretty good here if we can just get 2 good results. That's the goal, just kind of try and place in the top 5 if we can for the next 2 weeks. And see if we can't bring home the championship for sure. I think we got a really good shot at it. Just kind of stay consistent and kind of was able to grow out to a point lead. And the bigger the point lead you get, the more comfort we're gonna have.
Well, Keegan, congratulations on winning tonight from Watkins Glen. And who do you have to thank at the end of this one?
Yeah, first of all, thank you to Mac Tools, Stanley Black & Decker, Mac Daddy Dwayne Higgins, Colin Ganibas, everybody that helped put this together. And I can't thank them enough for believing in me and believing in what we have coming into 2025 and all the opportunity that we have ahead because of them. So thank you to them. We had a good result there, putting my other 2 teammates in the top 3 there. So congratulations to Kalen, John, getting in the top 3, so in our first 1, 2, 3 here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Also, a great job by Nick getting to have a good night as well, speed wise. And then Cody, I know he missed the start by 1 lap, but he still stuck it out. So thank you to him for coming out as well. Thank you to Adam Box, After Hours Restorations, Johnson iRacing team, everybody that helps make this possible. And thank you for what you guys do at Good Vision for putting together this awesome broadcast we can go back and look at. And thank you for all the support that I get from different people and all my different supporters as we continue to try and close out this championship.
I don't know how the hell you remember that every week, but congratulations on your great memory and congratulations on winning tonight from Watkins Glen, Keegan.
My goal is to actually, get it down, and then I can, do it so many times and get it down, but that's not going too well.
Well, it sounded pretty good over here. You're right up there. But congratulations once again. Looking forward to seeing if you can wrap up this championship in the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, Austin.
That was your race winner, Keegan Sabilo, tonight in the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series from Watkins Glen. Brian, You know, I was saying it in the pre-race. I absolutely love Watkins Glen. It's tough to drive, punishing racetrack. I think we saw that tonight for a couple guys, but relatively tame race for the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it definitely was a tame race, but I think that in a lot of ways these guys were on edge. I mean, you could see that this racetrack would bite you if you stepped out at all. I mean, we saw that plenty of times with Kalen making a mistake and Nick Jazabowski. I mean, Mitchell was very consistent the whole race, but then all that took was that one little mistake, and he lost that second place finish. So no, this place definitely seemed like it would punish you very quickly. And I think we got another track that's coming up very soon in a couple weeks. It's going to punish you quickly as well.
Oh, I'd have to agree with you 100% with Darlington. We're going to jump into our schedule just to give you guys one last little look at it right before we head off of the air. Pocono Raceway on Thursday for the High Slide Racing League at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. And then again, Monday night was fantastic for the Riker Performance Monday night top split. I guarantee you it's going to be even more fantastic for the Riker Performance Friday night NIS top split, 9 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow night, Michigan International Speedway. Be there or be square. But that is going to do it here from us at Grid Vision, and from the entire Grid Vision team, we'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to Keegan Sabilo on winning tonight's race from Watkins Glen International. This has been Austin Edstrom standing alongside Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire. We will see you next time on The Grid.